All right. I think you've all probably been there. You're out to dinner with your friends, and they're more interested in checking their phone, looking at Twitter, catching up on the latest cat gifs, than they are in sitting and talking to you. This example is just to say that I think we've all felt personally the effects of an increasingly virtual world. But to drive the point home, I'd like to call out a few incredible statistics. The average U.S. adult spends 12 hours each day consuming media. That's 4.5 hours of TV, 2 hours online, 2 hours on our mobile phones. Meanwhile, we're spending less than 20 minutes each day relaxing and thinking. This is a problem because people are happier and healthier when they're mindful. By mindfulness, means something along the lines of Jon Kabat-Zinn's definition. Mindfulness is being present intentionally, on purpose, and non-judgmentally. I like this definition because it calls out the point that to be mindful, you don't have to be a monk, you don't have to be a Buddhist, you don't have to spend hours and hours of each day sitting in silence, contemplating nothingness. Mindfulness is just as accessible to this woman walking in the park as it is to the monk sitting and meditating in half lotus. Study after study has proven the benefits of mindfulness to be tangible and remarkable. It increases concentration, attention, feelings of social connectedness, even immunity, all while decreasing stress, anxiety, depression, aging of the brain. So, it's proven people are happier when they can just be here. Yet, technology always seems to be pushing and pulling us away from the present moment. And technology itself is here to stay. So I think we have to figure out how to make these two worlds compatible, the world of mindfulness and the world of technology. And that's where we come in. As information architects, designers, user experience professionals, I believe we not only have a responsibility to understand this issue, but we have a responsibility to design information spaces that promote mindful behavior. Let me give you a few examples and suggestions for what I mean and how we might begin to do this. First, I think we should design for happiness, like true, lasting, meaningful happiness. Let's look at Angry Birds. Angry Birds is one of the most downloaded iPhone games of all time. During gameplay, users catapult cartoon birds at enemy pigs that are hiding out in these different structures. It's wildly popular and addicting. And while playing Angry Birds might make you happy for 5 minutes, I think after 3 hours straight of hurling cartoon birds at cartoon pigs, it's more like, I don't play Angry Birds until I'm satisfied. I play Angry Birds until I hate myself. Let's compare this with Lumosity. Lumosity is also a game-based application, except its games are designed to promote users' memory and cognition. Now, I don't want to weigh in on the science of Lumosity, but I do think that the intention is good. People spend 200 million minutes each day playing Angry Birds. Imagine what they could accomplish and how much happier they could be if they spent that time doing something just a little more mindful. Next, we need to think through all the consequences of our designs. Whoever first integrated text messaging with mobile devices probably didn't consider the ramifications it would have on driving safety, let alone on our social interactions. In this case, a lack of mindfulness is both dangerous and isolating. We need to be careful and thorough because the information spaces we release into this world can have rippling effects. Finally, and on a more uplifting note, I think we have a great opportunity to enhance the real world with our designs rather than always creating new virtual realities. This is an image of an art installation created for the San Jose airport. It integrates real-time weather data to change the opacity of these polycarbonate tiles, simulating the effects of a real cloud. The installation is called eCloud. And while the still image doesn't quite do it justice, I think it's a beautiful and mesmerizing piece that enhances the real environment of the airport while creating a sort of virtual turned physical connection between San Jose and the different locations around the world that it serves. That's all. Thank you for listening, and
Awesome. Thank you, Madeleine. We have time. Coming over this side. We have time for one or two questions if anybody has any.
So I think I love this. I love this idea. I think one of the reasons I'm less successful with it and I'm more inclined to do Angry Birds is that like, oh, I don't have time to be mindful. The Angry Birds will take me like 5 minutes, even though we go on for like 2 hours. So what would your recommendations be for like trying to flip that switch of being mindful can only take a couple minutes? Okay.
that notifies you every 5 minutes to take a coffee break or look away from your computer. So I think the key is, or the danger lies in these addictive environments where you get really caught up in the virtual reality, so much so that it separates you from the real world. So creating that physical virtual connection and keeping that in place throughout, I think, is one strategy that I would look into.
I just had more of a comment than a question, but as far as the virtual reality goes, like I can see that coming into play even like here today, because I feel like I'm pulled in two different directions, being like physically present here and paying attention to the talks, and then also like everything that's happening on Twitter, because you don't want to miss anything there. So it's interesting like that we're talking about, I don't know, this issue of mindfulness, but yet we're struggling with that, in this room.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the division is going to become increasingly blurry, and it's sort of more about an approach and your psychological state. I think you can be on Twitter and you can be mindful. So it's about kind of creating that connection for yourself.
I think we can do one more.
Just want to say congratulations, Madeleine, and thank you. I thought this was a great talk. I think there's something profoundly perplexing because mindfulness is almost the absence of information, or you somehow almost go beyond information. I think there's tons for us to figure out about that combination, and I want to personally invite you to the University of Toronto to get a PhD in this topic and study with me, and I really hope you'll take me up on the offer. Good luck to you. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adam.